much, Mr. Secretary General, for your important address. We will now hear questions from the speakers on behalf of the political groups, followed by a response from the Secretary General to each of those questions. Please, the speaking time is limited to 30 seconds, you know that already, and I would like to remind colleagues to really ask questions and not give any speeches. So I now turn to the representative from the SOC group, Sita Gurmai, please, your question. Sita.
Thank you very much. Congrats, President, colleagues. Mr. Secretary General, we are experiencing unprecedented changes in the international system, as you just mentioned, a subject you have also addressed in your recent articles and before the Committee of Ministers, recalling the risk that military security represents without democratic control. In your view, what role can the Council of Europe play in this rapidly changing world? And what relevant instrument do we have at our disposal to strengthen democratic security? What role is the new Democratic Pact for Europe called upon to play in this? And how can we support women in all that? Thank you.
That were many questions. Alain, please.
Sorry, thank you for the question. I think I addressed also a part of those elements in my speech before, but thank you for insisting on this, because democratic security is exactly what we can deliver and where we are strong, and what the continent and the member states can also expect from us to do. And what I can add to my intervention before is we need to be very concrete. We need to be very concrete and not just, to speak, not just to have some words and good intentions, but to be very concrete. Where is starting democracy? It is starting with accountability. That's the first point. Accountability is part of democracy. What means democratic process? It means to have the choice to decide how we want to see a country governed, and then the population can decide if it is good or not good, if they want to change something. This is pure accountability. And in the context that we are facing right now, accountability in the context of Ukraine, is what we are doing with the European Court on Human Rights, Register of Damage, Claims Commission, and Special Tribunal. That's the first point. The second point, I think, democratic security is to protect democracy, democratic processes. And we see, and I mean, the intervention before the President of Moldova was really impressive exactly on this. We are observing in detail what was happening in Moldova for the election in 24 and what was happening for the election in 25. And we are also witnessing in other countries huge threats about the well-functioning democracies. And it is a point that we address in the new Democratic Pact for Europe. When I say very concrete, I also mentioned the Convention on Foreign Interference and Disinformation that we are working on. This is much more than words. It is like a kind of toolbox that member states should have at disposal to use to protect democracy, knowing, because there is, a discussion before on this, knowing that those tools are compliant with the European Convention on Human Rights. This is a concrete example that we need to work on. I could have a long list. It will be part of the new Democratic Pact for Europe, and thank you also for your strong support that I feel for this work that we are doing together.
Thank you. Next one is Mrs. Eda Kitzstahler on behalf of EPP. Liebe Andrea.
Gratulation, liebe Petra, zur Präsidentin. Ich freue mich sehr, dass eine österreichische Frau das geworden ist. Herr Generalsekretär, Sie haben kürzlich in einem Artikel in der New York Times gesagt, dass Sie hinter Trumps Vorstoß in Sachen Grönland die Rückkehr einer Logik aus dem Kalten Krieg sehen. Und Sie haben uns heute auch gesagt, dass wir an einem Wendepunkt sind. Wie sehen Sie die künftige Positionierung des Europarats in diesen schwierigen Zeiten zwischen EU, USA, China und Russland? Mit welchen konkreten Maßnahmen wollen Sie die Positionierung des Europarats stärken, auch hinsichtlich des angekündigten Austrittes der USA von der Venice-Kommission? Vielen Dank.
Lieber Alain.
Ja, vielen Dank für diese Frage und auch für die Erwähnung von Greenland und auch diesem Artikel in der New York Times. Mein erster Punkt ist, dass es ist keine große Überraschung, was da passiert ist. Oder wir dürfen nicht total überrascht werden. Ich muss hier erinnern, dass die ganze Diskussion über Greenland seitens von Präsident Trump war schon präsent in der ersten Mandat von Präsident Trump zwischen 16 und 20. Nicht mehr als erwähnt, aber es war erwähnt. Und letztes Jahr, es war auch klar erwähnt und dann dieses Jahr, es war so wie eine große Eskalierung auf diese ganze Frage. Das ist der erste Punkt. Der zweite Punkt, dass für uns in Europa und auch für Dänemark und auch für Greenland, es ist wirklich ein bisschen schwierig zu sehen, wo wir sind, wenn wir denken an den Aggressionskrieg von Russland in der Ukraine und auf die andere Seite eine sehr langjährige Zusammenarbeit, die wir mit der USA haben, ist da plötzlich in Frage gestellt. Das ist eine große Frage und es ist genau für diesen Grund, dass ich mal etwas sagen musste und nicht nur hier, aber auch für ein amerikanisches Publikum. Deswegen auch im New York Times, um zu erinnern, dass, ja klar, es gibt einfach diese historische Verbindung, wo Greenland und Dänemark einfach zusammengehören. Aber muss man auch etwas noch dazu bringen, das uns betrifft direkt. Es ist nie zu vergessen, dass Grönland ist gedeckt bei der Europäischen Konvention für Menschenrechte und auch gedeckt mit der Gerichtshof für Menschenrechte. Das ist eine sehr starke und matchentscheidende Verbindung zu Europa. Und muss man auch erinnern, als ich was mal in meiner Rede vorher gemacht habe, dass wir haben Werte. Wir haben eine langjährige Stabilität, die wir pflegen und die wir auch pflegen wollen und pflegen müssen. Was wollen wir und was müssen wir jetzt tun? Auf diese Stabilität zu arbeiten, langfristiges Denken zu unterstützen, nicht zu kurzfristig, das ist auch ein Problem, das wir immer haben, und immer auf die Werte arbeiten. Ich komme jetzt noch zweitens auf die Venedig-Kommission und I will change to English to tell you that we are strongly concerned about this evolution that we're just witnessing with the Venice Commission. The Venice Commission is a very, very important body, not for the Council of Europe. I mean, for constitutional law all around the world. It is a central body, it is a central institution that we have at the Council of Europe and can be very proud about what this institution is able to deliver for countries, for member states, I mean in Europe, but also for non-member states. And I mean, for this reason, we have also a new president of the Venice Commission. I will have the occasion to meet the new president very soon, and I also intend to visit the Venice Commission soon, also to support the Venice Commission and to see what we can do together to have a strong and bright future for this Commission, because it is really needed at the moment we are living today.
Dear Secretary General, first of all, thank you very much for an active job and a lot of support towards Ukraine. And I have two questions. First, unfortunately, we have a humanitarian catastrophe in Ukraine right now. In -20 weather, people live in apartments without heating, without electricity, often without running water. It's a humanitarian catastrophe. And unfortunately, I don't see humanitarian convoys, many lines of them entering Ukraine. We need everything, generators, warm clothes, food, everything. Maybe Council of Europe can call for the action and lead the efforts. And the second question is, when in your opinion, the enlarged partial agreement on the management committee of the special tribunal be concluded? And can you help to fast forward it? Thank you very much.
Mr. Secretary General.
Thank you very much for mentioning the humanitarian tragedy and situation in Ukraine. It is not only that the country is under attacks from Russia since more than 10 years now, and full-scale invasion very soon, 5 years. It means also for civilian populations very hard and extremely, I mean, I think for us it's quite impossible to conceive and to understand what this exactly means. Probably you need to live this to understand what it means. Being since 5 years, more than 10 years under those attacks, and in particular in winter, for families, children, while also elder people, what it means. And thank you for recalling this and reminding us this. I can just tell you just a small anecdote. I was last week in contact with our team. You know that we have, well, 100 agents from the Council of Europe working in Ukraine, at the side of the Ukrainian population and living in the same conditions. We also have agents from the Council exactly living what you are remembering us here. And I wanted to have this contact with them. I will have the occasion very soon, I hope, to visit Ukraine and also to visit the people and to visit the country and to see the civilian populations. And thank you for recalling this. It is really an impossible situation with, well, sub-zero temperatures and no heating and an impossible life. The second point you mentioned when, and I will tell you something at the beginning, at the end of the answer. At the beginning, ratify faster, decide faster, resource faster. What I mean by that? We did, and we are doing our job. I mean, for the accountability I mentioned before. Claims Commission is progressing very well. It will be important in the future. And for the Special Tribunal, we are also working hardly. We have well, the whole preparation now with the advanced team on the legal framework, you know, all organizational questions, seat the discussions, all the elements to make this concrete. We need a kind of plug and play solution to go fast. What we need now is a clear and strong support from countries joining and then doing the maximum possible. When I was telling you ratify faster, I mean, we are in a phase with the Claims Commission. We have 35 countries having signed by the very first day in December. Excellent. But without ratification, we will not be able to make steps forward. We need now this ratification process, and we need now also the resources. For the Special Tribunal, it is the same situation. We need a clear situation on the resources, a clear situation on cost, what it will cost, and then we are delivering on our part to make it real. As I mentioned before, I mean, accountability is exactly part of democracy. There is no democracy without accountability, and particularly in war situations and after war situations, as we see in Ukraine. That means where it is possible, where it is something to do, ratify faster, decide faster, resource faster.
Thank you. And on behalf of ALDE, Mrs. Kravchuk, dear Yevgenia.
Thank you. Congratulations, dear Petra. Secretary General, 100,000 of Ukrainians already filed their applications to the Claims Commissions. These are the same people that are without electricity and heat in Ukraine. When do you think compensation fund will start working, and how about the compensations, when people could see the compensations? And with regards to the fight against disinformation, when this toolbox you mentioned, the convention, could be given to the countries, and what rapid instruments we can give now, because member states are waiting now. Thank you.
Mr. President, Mr. Secretary General.
Thank you. Thank you, Madam President. For the first element, I mean, you mentioned the Claims Commission, and just want to recall in this room that when the Register of Damage was created by the head of state and head of government, Reykjavik, it was in May 23. And now, less than 3 years later, it can be long, but it is at the same time really something efficient. We have not only a fully functioning register in The Hague, with also teams working in Ukraine. We have now more than 100,000 elements registered in the register, and the register is opening regularly new categories, and it will climb, and it will climb a lot in the next few months, to have, as far as possible, a clear view about what needs to be repaired and what needs to be compensated. That's the first point. The second point, in last December, we had this step made creating the Claims Commission. We also here need and have an advanced team working for the establishment of the Claims Commission, and then once we will have the Claims Commission, and once we will have enough countries having ratified the signature they gave in December, and also the resources, then it will be possible to act. I mean, we can just, and it is at the same time a lot and not enough. We can just, from the side of the Council of Europe, bring the logistics. We can bring, you know, the thinking about the whole structure that we need, and we can work on this, exactly what we are doing now. But without the full support and strong support of states, member states, also for the funding, it will take time. And we need now this. I could repeat what I told to your Ukrainian colleague before. I mean, to ratify faster, decide faster, and resource faster. About the second question, the second part of your question about disinformation and foreign interferences, I must tell you that, we had the case of Moldova, but we had a lot of different situations in Europe. I can mention here Romania, I can mention Poland, I can mention a lot of different countries, because nobody is protected against this situation right now, and we are fully aware about the risks also that we see for the next elections, for example, in Armenia, and for the day where it will be possible also to have elections in Ukraine, it will be also extremely risky. That means, speaking about the toolbox, it's maybe a bit too simple as a definition. I think it was just to underline that it's not just to speak about the fight against disinformation, it's not just about solemn statements against disinformation, it's to create something concrete. And it will take a bit time, because we need to see if there is a political will from states to develop this convention on foreign interference and disinformation. We are at the moment doing a feasibility study. I think it's very soon finished. It will be this week. Thank you. And then we are continuing on this. It will be a discussion also with the Committee of Ministers. Chisinau and the ministerial conference in Chisinau will be really important to see what do we want to achieve together. That's the point. In the meantime, what can we do? It was your question. In the meantime, there is not much better to do as just to try to understand the experiences that we had in different countries, to see what works, what is not working, and to take those informations to see what it is possible in a country to do. But my point and our point should be, in Europe, not just to let each country reinventing the wheel, fighting against disinformation and foreign interference. We need to learn from each other, and that's exactly the purpose of a possible convention. And I mean, the next weeks and few months will be really decisive to see if we are able, if we are willing to do this. It will be not enough. It is not the convention or other things, or the convention. We must take all the possibilities we have to act. That means media literacy, education, all those elements are also central to have the strongest possible answer against disinformation and foreign interferences. It is just about protecting our democracies, protecting our democratic processes.
Thank you. And the last from the speakers on behalf of the group is for UL, Mr. Emmanuel Fernandez.
Merci Madame la Présidente. Monsieur le Secrétaire Général, le 22 mai dernier, 9 États membres du Conseil de l'Europe publiaient une lettre ouverte remettant en cause l'indépendance de la Cour européenne des droits de l'homme, lui reprochant de restreindre leur action en matière migratoire, alors que la Cour ne fait que veiller au respect des droits humains pour toutes et tous. Cette lettre relayait les poncifs de l'extrême droite présentant les personnes migrantes comme une menace et appelant pour elle à une application dégradée des droits humains. 2 jours plus tard, vous répondiez avec force que dans un État de droit, le pouvoir judiciaire ne doit subir aucune aucune pression politique et que les institutions protégeant les droits fondamentaux ne peuvent dépendre des cycles politiques. Alors pouvez-vous aujourd'hui réaffirmer votre totale étanchéité et celle du Conseil de l'Europe face à ces tentatives depuis réitérées de saper de l'intérieur ces fondements essentiels? Je vous remercie.
Merci beaucoup pour cette question qui touche à un sujet fondamental et qui concerne le Conseil de l'Europe en son cœur, à savoir l'indépendance des pouvoirs judiciaires que nous promouvons sur tout le continent par ailleurs. On fait beaucoup d'efforts pour garantir que le message soit bien passé, pour aussi accompagner les pays qui revoient leur système judiciaire, qui adaptent leur législation pour garantir cette indépendance judiciaire. Et donc c'est vrai qu'il est un peu, comment dire ça, curieux, peut-être saugrenu même, de voir que cette même indépendance judiciaire était un peu remise en question pour notre propre cour par des États membres. Pas n'importe quels États membres, si je peux le dire ainsi, 9, qui sont par ailleurs tous membres de l'Union européenne. Un tiers des pays membres de l'Union européenne se sont alliés pour poser ces questions. Vous connaissez le début de l'histoire. J'ai été, je crois, assez critique et assez dur avec la méthode qui a été employée au départ. Un peu de mauvaise humeur sur une lettre qui n'a été adressée à personne, que je n'ai toujours pas vue, sinon dans les journaux, je me répète un peu, sur une lettre qui ne mentionnait pas le Conseil de l'Europe, mais l'OTAN, Dieu sait pourquoi. Et donc le départ ne s'est pas très bien passé. Cela dit, dès le moment où nous avons des États membres qui posent la question, une question de nature politique, qui est une question évidente, la question de la migration nous occupe toutes et tous. Elle vous occupe, elle m'occupe, elle nous occupe. C'est une question, c'est une réalité sociale, c'est une partie de notre fonctionnement d'État et de démocratie, à toutes sortes d'égards. Dès le moment où nous avons un tiers des États membres de l'Union européenne, 9 membres sur les 46 du Conseil de l'Europe qui posent cette question, il m'a semblé que la bonne réaction était de dire eh bien, nous devons faire en sorte que cette discussion qui nous concerne mais qui se passe ailleurs et sans nous, se passe chez nous. C'est la première chose. C'est une question presque de respect et dans le fond, d'identité du Conseil de l'Europe. Si on souhaite aborder la question migratoire en lien avec le Conseil de l'Europe, alors on le fait, mais à Strasbourg, pas ailleurs. Le deuxième élément, c'est que si nous souhaitons aborder cette question, alors on l'aborde sur le plan politique et pas en commençant par mettre une pression sur la Cour. Raison pour laquelle nous avons organisé en décembre une conférence ministérielle ici à Strasbourg, donc, qui a réuni des ministres de la justice des pays membres pour parler de la question migratoire. Les deux objectifs étaient atteints. Un, retour à Strasbourg. 2, discussions politiques. Ça, c'était le but. Les choses se poursuivent maintenant. Je crois que nous devons trouver un équilibre entre, évidemment, la question légitime ou les questions légitimes qui sont soulevées par des États. Et je crois que de mettre les questions sous le tapis ou de suivre une politique de l'autruche serait la pire des stratégies à moyen terme. À court terme, c'est le plus facile. La poussière sous le tapis, à court terme, ça marche bien. Mais plus tard, on la retrouve. Et donc, à moyen terme, eh bien, nous devons traiter cette question. Je pense que nous devons la traiter. Nous avons commencé à la traiter dans les cadres qui savent le faire. Il y a eu d'ailleurs des premières discussions au CDDH récemment, qui est l'organe qui traite de ces questions. Et nous devons, avec ça, à la fois traiter de la question migratoire, mais protéger l'indépendance du judiciaire. C'est ça qui doit être possible. C'est notre objectif. Et il ne faut pas oublier non plus que le judiciaire ne tombe pas du ciel. C'est une émanation de volonté populaire. La séparation des pouvoirs, les institutions, ce sont des volontés dans le fond, portées par les peuples qui les ont mises en place et de manière assez naturelle, eh bien, comme les sociétés évoluent, ces réflexions et les pressions qui peuvent exister évoluent aussi. Nous devons les canaliser, les mettre au bon endroit et ne renoncer à rien lorsqu'il s'agit de l'indépendance du judiciaire. Et donc vous avez, la réponse à votre question, c'est oui. Nous faisons tout cela pour garantir l'indépendance du judiciaire, de notre Cour européenne des droits de l'homme. Pourquoi? Parce que si nous ne le faisions pas, alors nous nuirions nous-mêmes à notre propre impact sur le territoire européen. Mais en même temps, la question migratoire existe. Tout le monde a un avis sur la question, vous aussi, moi aussi. Et dans le fond, dans une démocratie, il est toujours légitime de débattre de tous les sujets qui paraissent pertinents pour les uns et pour les autres.
Thank you very much. I will now give the floor to other speakers and will group them always in three and then turn over to the Secretary General for his answer to the questions. And the first is Armen Gevogrian.
Mr. Secretary General, yesterday it was an opportunity to discuss with you the challenging political situation in Armenia ahead of the upcoming elections. It's important that the Council of Europe does not remain indifferent to ongoing human rights violations and democratic backsliding. But today I would like to ask you about the Armenian prisoners in Baku. Are you negotiating with the Azerbaijani authorities for their unconditional release as part of your efforts to return the Azerbaijani delegation to PACE? Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Sergei Sobolyev.
Mr. Secretary General, thank you very much for your support of Ukraine. And my question, maybe it's time to continue the initiatives of Defense Rammstein that is working excellent, Energy Rammstein that is started only now. And maybe it's a good initiative to proclaim Housing Strasbourg initiative on the base of register of damages that can unite all countries, not only 46 countries, but all countries in the world, in support to give possibility for all Ukrainians to receive housing after horrible attacks of Russia. Thank you.
Thank you. And Bianca Eugenia Gavrila. I see she is not here. Then we continue with Titus Kolatian.
Secretary General, having in mind the fundamental importance of relaunching the peace process in the Middle East and the important role played during the years by the Council of Europe and its Parliamentary Assembly as a platform of contacts and political dialogue between the representatives of Israel and Palestine, and we saw yesterday the solid and very constructive debate in the political committee, don't you envisage for the future to increase the profile and the contribution of our organization in this field, for instance, through a special envoy of the Council of Europe in that region, in domains like democratic security, fundamental human rights, and democratic rules? Thank you.
And Alain, over to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the possibility to answer. I will start maybe with your question. If I understood well, you are speaking about the situation with the prisoners in Azerbaijan. It's difficult for me to comment on individual legal cases in member states. But I want to recall in this situation that it is really important that all member states respect the obligations that they have regarding the Council of Europe and the values and the European Convention on Human Rights in their respective legal systems and also in the concrete cases. It's always the same for me. I mean, we try to protect and to reinforce always the role of the European Convention and from the European Court on Human Rights. And as we know, we have cases coming here, and we need to give the possibility to the court to take decisions without to undermine this, taking positions before. Saying this, I can see that we had in the last months very good and positive expectations about the peace process between Azerbaijan and Armenia, and it is not going as fast and as deepened as we have been expected. I mean, once again, we must also accept and see the situation that it is more complicated than we have been told it was. I can remember last summer, the relations between two countries under the auspices of the American president, peace has been made, and now we are still in some difficulties, and we need to make some progress on this. You also addressed at the very beginning of your question, I think, the question in Armenia, I mean, I don't want to engage in this now because you didn't put a precise question on this. Just to recall also the importance for all member states to respect all the rights guaranteed by the European Convention on Human Rights. That means for, well, the rule of law and all ongoing legal proceedings, including obviously those involving political opposition and activists. To the second question, thank you for the question. If I understood well about an accountability summit, if I understood well the question, I'm not sure because I think it was what I understood. I will try to answer in this answer. I mean, we did and we will continue to do a lot on this. And I mean, the meeting that we had in December in The Hague was exactly going in this direction. We have different elements. It is part of a framework. And I think it is also good not to take all those elements together, you know, and just to mix everything with everything, because we have a clear structure lines. Can recall and remind in this context that the European Court of Human Rights is the first, and I would say, important body functioning, working, at the moment where we are speaking, Tuesday morning here in Strasbourg, just next door, I would say, in the European Court of Human Rights, they are working on cases and adjudicating cases of violations of human rights in the war in Ukraine with, after the aggression of Russia. They are doing this. They must continue, not only on individual cases, but also on interstate cases. And just to recall in this context, the interstate cases published last July between, Netherlands and Ukraine against Russia, with clear result and very important statements and very important elements in this decision. The second element, with the Register of Damage Claims Commission, it was this summit, I would say, last December in The Hague, a very important moment for the development of accountability and to underline the fact that we are clear, we have a clear line, we are strong, and we are doing one step after another clearly without to stop. This is the main message. We are not subject to influences, you know, what's happening. We are doing the job independently of the context. And the same for the special tribunal. As I mentioned before, it was one important, I think I gave some elements to answering this. That means we have those avenues. We are open, and I'm open also in a bilateral way to discuss all possible elements that you may think about. But I think we are, because it is the first priority that we have. And I explained before, it's not only just, you know, for supporting Ukraine. That's the most important thing. It supports all of us. And it is decisive for democracy, because there is no democracy without accountability, once again. Thank you for the question about Middle East. I mean, you're fully right. We are also strongly concerned because the rights we are standing for at the Council of Europe and the values that we have, they are not just for our member states or just for us. I mean, human rights are universal. And they are the same human rights, I mean, in Gaza or in the Middle East or in other parts of the world or in Europe, in our member states. You have been calling for a more engaged position of the Council of Europe. Thank you also for bringing to us the very positive assessment that you have made about the meeting yesterday. I think it was an important moment to have this meeting, and I was really happy to hear about the positive outcome. It's not the end of the history, it's the beginning of something, and I take your, it was not only a question, it was more an, I would say, a call that you've made. I can just assure you that we are really, really concerned with what is happening, and we always need to find the right balance between what we can say and what we can do. Because just to speak is good, but it's not enough. And we need then to envisage, I mean, the next steps. We have also an important element with the whole discussion that we launched and I launched last year about the external policy of the Council of Europe, external action. we are defining this. I mean, the Committee of Ministers is working exactly on this, and probably in this context, we can also readdress these issues.
Thank you very much. The next question comes from Seda Gören.
C'est venu? D'accord. Merci Madame la Présidente et félicitations encore une fois. Monsieur le Secrétaire général, au cours de l'année écoulée, certains États membres du Conseil de l'Europe ont pris des initiatives critiquant l'interprétation de la Convention par la Cour en matière de migration irrégulière. Ma question ressemble beaucoup à Monsieur Fernandez, à celle de Monsieur Fernandez, mais je pense qu'il est important d'y revenir encore une fois. C'est pour cela que ces positions ont mis en évidence des divergences entre les États membres sur cette question. Dans le cadre de vos efforts que nous avons témoignés visant à renforcer l'unité du Conseil, que nous soutenons pleinement, quelles mesures supplémentaires envisagez-vous pour y répondre? Je vous remercie.
Mr. Vardanyan, dear Vladimir.
Thank you, Secretary General. Just a small reminder, prisoners of war should be repatriated just after the end of hostilities. And this is the provision of the general international law and general international humanitarian law. And my question is the following. UN security system existed for a long time. It was never efficient, but now we are facing partial or total collapse of the UN system. What do you think? Is this possible, the existence of the Council of Europe in the environment there the international order is totally collapsed? Thank you.
Thank you. And the last in this round, Larissa Belosia.
Dear Secretary General, thank you for maintaining your focus on Ukraine. I wanted to stress that the scale of destruction of Ukraine is such big that 2 million households lost their homes or their homes were damaged, and only 23,000 received certificates in order to buy the new homes. And actually, 25% of these homes were bought by the money of the European Council Development Bank. And this is 6,000 certificates, mostly internally displaced persons and veterans with disabilities. I would like to draw your attention and to elaborate and to help us to enlarge this program in order for people to receive more homes, because these programs turn to be very effective and very successful. And the Bank of Europe and the Council of Europe Bank only has Ukraine and 5% of its portfolio, and maybe we could enlarge this program as it is turned to be very successful. And again, very big thanks to you for support of Ukraine.
Mr. Secretary General.
Merci beaucoup, Madame la Présidente. Je vais commencer par pour dire quelque chose encore sur la question des migrations. Je crois que, en fait, les éléments de réponse étaient présents tout à l'heure. Je pense que nous devons réussir, et ce n'est pas quelque chose de très simple, je le conçois volontiers, nous devons réussir à prendre et à débattre de tous les sujets qui sont jugés légitimes et importants par des États membres. Là, la volonté était claire en réalité, mais on doit réussir à le faire d'une manière qui permet d'avancer sur le plan politique, mais qui ne porte pas préjudice à l'indépendance du système judiciaire. Je le dis comme ça et on a l'impression que c'est un peu compliqué au niveau du Conseil de l'Europe. Mais je voudrais juste vous rappeler qu'en principe, c'est ce que font tous les États membres. Prenant des décisions politiques dans les parlements, il y a des gouvernements qui ont des fois des positions dures, il y a des gouvernements qui changent. Mais enfin, la stabilité du système, c'est de réussir à mener des discussions de nature politique, même si elles sont difficiles, en rappelant dans ce cadre que c'est très important de faire des débats ensemble quand on est d'accord sur tout. Mais c'est encore beaucoup plus important de débattre ensemble quand on n'est pas d'accord. C'est là que ça devient vraiment intéressant et qu'on essaye de définir un chemin commun. Et c'est ce que vous faites dans les États, dans vos parlements, et j'espère que vous le faites en garantissant l'indépendance des pouvoirs judiciaires. Sinon, ce n'est pas partout le cas, je le vois bien. Sinon, naturellement, on affaiblit la portée du système. Alors c'était assez intéressant parce qu'en faisant cet exercice au Conseil de l'Europe, il y a eu des voix qui se sont élevées pour dire il ne faut surtout pas parler de ça. Il ne faut pas parler de cette question. Et puis bon, alors moi, l'image que ça éveillait chez moi, c'était un peu une image de dire si on n'en parle pas, qu'est-ce qui se passe ensuite? Est-ce que la question va disparaître parce qu'on n'en parle pas? Non, elle ne va pas disparaître en fait. Elle va se transformer, elle va peut-être devenir encore plus compliquée. La pression va monter, c'est comme dans une cocotte minute, hein. Si on ne s'en occupe pas, un jour ça peut exploser. Et donc, nos systèmes démocratiques et nos institutions démocratiques ont aussi cette fonction de pouvoir débattre de tout, même quand c'est difficile, et d'essayer de voir ce que l'on peut faire et quel est le chemin qu'on peut prendre. Donc, celles et ceux qui me disaient il ne faut surtout pas en parler, ça me paraissait être une stratégie peut-être valable à très court terme, mais dangereuse à moyen terme. Et d'autres ont dit, ah ben tiens, vous acceptez d'en parler, mais vous voulez faire ça sur le plan politique, alors que ce qu'il faut faire, c'est dire à cette Cour que maintenant ça suffit. Ça ne va pas non plus, pour les raisons que j'ai expliquées tout à l'heure. Nous devons donc trouver ensemble une voie qui se permette d'aborder les problèmes, de discuter de tout sans tabou, mais qui renforce les institutions plutôt que de les affaiblir. S'il y a une chose, je crois que tout le monde est d'accord là-dessus, qui caractérise notre continent, et nos institutions, et les pays membres, et le Conseil de l'Europe, c'est d'être capable de réfléchir, fondé sur des institutions qui sont stables, de réfléchir à plus long terme. De ne pas nous laisser complètement déborder par l'ultra court terme. C'est ça qui pourrait nous détruire. À ultra court terme, dans la prochaine seconde, vous pouvez perdre l'orientation, ne plus savoir où est le haut, le bas, la gauche, la droite, le froid, le chaud. Ça, c'est la pire des choses pour une démocratie, parce qu'une démocratie a besoin d'orientation. Et il faut donc réfléchir à plus long terme. Et quand je dis long terme, c'est quoi? Si je vous parle de 15 ou de 20 ans, vous connaissez mon amour pour les réflexions qui sont liées au temps, à la temporalité. Si je vous parle de 15 ou 20 ans, vous allez vous dire, c'est une éternité. 20 ans. 2046, ça sonne presque comme un film de science-fiction. 2046, c'est demain en fait, et la plupart d'entre nous seront, je l'espère, je vous le souhaite en tout cas, encore là. Donc ayons la force et le courage de penser dans ces catégories de temps, y compris d'ailleurs pour les questions qui vous concernent. Je me suis un peu égaré dans la réponse, pardonnez-moi, mais en parlant librement, c'est toujours un peu le risque. Thank you for the question about if I understood well the total collapse of international order. If I understood well. And I think that I'm not agreeing with you about international order would be totally collapsing. We have now, we had in the past a very long period of huge stability. That doesn't mean that we didn't have extremely difficult situations, brutal wars in different parts of the world on our continent. Just also think about the situation in the Balkans in the 90s, I mean, Ukraine now. But it was, in the Cold War, a long period of stability, maybe a kind of fake stability, because in the meantime, the world was evolving. And if we have this strong stability in an evolving world, without to understand exactly what's happening, one day the tension is too big, and you have a chaotic development. And maybe we are witnessing this right now, kind of chaotic moments, also because alliances are put in question, also because we are seeing maybe some important elements of the world we want to live in, based on international law, based on the rule of law, based on democracy and human rights, challenged under strong pressure, maybe even disappearing in some part of the world. That's the case.